The most awaited visa for Indians dropped last week, with the biggest question everyone asking being, how can I apply? Now that that's done and dusted, it's time for the results to roll in, and the main question is, are you one of the lucky few? And what are you even supposed to do next? Hi guys, if you're new to my channel, my name is Ashika, and on this channel we talk about moving to the UK. Today we're talking about the visa that is the most debated visa over the internet, the Young Professional Scheme for Indians. And we're specifically talking about the results that are rolling in, what to do if you were successful, what to do if you were not successful. With that, let's dive in. To give you a quick recap, the Young Professional Scheme was a visa that was rolled out for Indians with 2,400 visa slots available. And to allow everyone to apply, they made the ballot open for everyone. And out of that, 2,400 people would be selected to apply for this visa. This visa allowed you to live and work in the UK for up to 2 years without needing a sponsored job or even a sponsor. You could pretty much do whatever you wanted to do in the UK. People who were successful in the ballot were then invited to apply for the visa, and the ballot ran from the 28th of Feb to the 2nd of March. If you're watching this, I'm guessing you applied for the ballot. Now, the results were supposed to roll in within 2 weeks of you applying for the ballot. And here's the thing, some results have started rolling in. So some people have already gotten their letters. Some people have gotten acceptance, some have gotten rejections, and some haven't gotten their letters yet. Today, we're discussing all three scenarios. Now, if you have received a positive response, it should look something like this. You will receive a UAN number as a part of this email, which is something you should absolutely not share with anybody, because if anyone uses your UAN number to apply just to even check, you will be rejected. So don't share this number with anyone. The most important thing for you to remember is that you need to apply within 30 days of receiving this email. This date will not be the same for everyone. So you need to calculate or even read the fine print on your email, which mentions the last date within which you need to apply, and make sure you apply before that. In the absolute worst scenario where you do not apply within the 30 days because of some emergency, like you were hit by a meteor or you couldn't get the money around in time, because honestly, those are the only two scenarios I can think of which would not allow you to apply for this in time because you have 30 days. In that case, if you did manage to apply within 14 days of the expiry date, you might still be considered, depending on the Secretary of State, but it honestly depends on their moods. So you probably don't want to risk that. Bottom line, unless it is an absolutely real emergency, please apply within the 30 days. Now, let's talk about how you need to apply. In terms of the application, you've already completed the first two steps. You've applied for the ballot and you've received an email saying you're successful and welcoming you to apply. What you need to do next is get your documents ready and finally apply, which comprises of two steps, which we'll get to. But before we move on to the documents, let's just quickly take a minute and talk about the eligibility, because here's the thing. If you apply for this visa and if you make a mistake, unlike in the case of the ballot, if you made a mistake, you didn't stand to lose anything financially. But in this case, if you make a mistake while applying for this visa, you will not get your visa application fee refunded to you. So you absolutely have to ensure that you do not make any mistakes while filling this out. Now, remember, in order to be eligible to apply, you must be an Indian citizen, be between 18 to 30 years old, have an eligible qualification. The likelihood is you've checked all these boxes because you were accepted. But apart from that, you absolutely need to have 2,530 euros, which is approximately 2.5 lakhs in your savings. Even if you meet all of the criteria but you don't have the funds, your visa will be rejected. Please, if you do not have the funds, do not apply. If you don't have these savings, even if you apply paying the visa fee, your fee will not be refunded when your visa is rejected. So if you don't have 2,530 pounds in your account at the time of the application, please don't apply. You must also have had this money available for at least 28 days in a row. Day 28 must be within 31 days of applying for this visa. And this is great because you have 30 days to apply, which means from the day you get the confirmation, you have 2 additional days to move the money to your account if you don't have it already. Apart from this, you must also not have any children under the age of 18 who either live with you or you are financially responsible for, even if they don't live with you. Now, let's go back to the money part because it is really important. You need to show that you have at least 2,530 in your bank account to show that you can financially take care of yourself over the 2 years in the UK. You can't show this money in terms of overdrafts, Bitcoin savings, stocks and shares, or pensions. In this case, you will have to also prove that you have control of the account that you are showing. So it can't be your mother or your father or your friend's account. It needs to be an account that you have control over. The money can be in the form of a current account, a deposit account, a savings account, a pension savings account, an investment account, and if it's cash, it must be in an account that you have immediate access to. Now, you can prove you have this money by showing bank statements, building society passbooks, certificates of deposits, or a letter from your bank or building society. Now, it's really important that the bank statement you have should mention the following: the date on which it was issued, your name, the name of your bank or building society, and the balance on your account. Now, the good thing is you don't need to get these statements stamped by your bank. You can simply download them from your account if you have online banking. But please remember that if you try and fake these accounts and if you try and fake the fact that you have these funds, the UK government might go ahead and check with your bank if you have these sufficient funds or not. And if they realize you've been faking it, if you don't have the money, this wasn't your account, your visa will be rejected and you lose your application fee. Now, because this is in pounds and you will be transferring in rupees, you would need to know the exchange rate for that day and make sure it is exactly 2,530 pounds. So that's how you'll need to calculate it. You can check the currency evaluator on that day. And if you're not really sure how to do it, I will leave a link in the description for that as well. Quick request to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I would really like to hit 100k because then all the grey hair that I have been getting will be completely justified. Or maybe not, but it would be nice. Next, let's talk about what documents you need to apply for this visa. A valid passport or other documents that show your identity and nationality. You also need a blank page in your passport for your visa. Like we've discussed, you need evidence that you have at least 2,530 pounds in your bank account. You need evidence of your qualifications, so your university or your college will need to provide written confirmation that you completed your studies and that you graduated with the required qualifications. If your documents are not in English or Welsh, you will also need to provide a certified translation. You will also need to provide a TB test. If you're currently in the UK and you've applied for the scheme and gotten a confirmation, you do not need to apply for a TB test. And also, if you're pregnant, you don't need to apply for a TB test. One more thing you'll also need is a police report or a clearance certificate from India. Now, there's a lengthy description online on who can apply, how to apply, what you need to apply, how long it's going to take, all of that. How much it's going to cost. It's all mentioned over here. So I'm not really going to go into too much depth about it because it'll take too long, to be very honest. So I will leave this link as well in the description along with the TB link and all the other links that you think you're going to need. They're all going to be in the description so you can click on them and read them at your leisure. But I would definitely suggest you apply for the police verification immediately if you haven't already. Next, what you want to do is actually apply for the visa online. Now, to apply, you'll need to head over to this page and I will link this again in the description so you can just have a look right now. And go ahead and click apply now. Fill in wherever you plan on living and click continue. At the next step, click no. Choose whichever country you want to do your biometrics in. Choose India or UK depending on which country you live in. If you know where your visa center is, great. Or you can use the link here to find out where it is or choose a different location and then click apply now at the next step after reading the whole page. Please read every single word. And I'm really serious while saying this. I've said this 100 times. Read everything carefully. Double check everything you're filling in. I said this a bunch of times before the Youth Mobility Scheme or this Young Professional Scheme went live on the 28th. And despite that, there were people who made mistakes in their application for the ballot and wrote to me later saying, how can we change this? And you can't. See, that's the problem. Even here, once you submit your application, there's a very low likelihood you can make any changes. So please read everything carefully. If you're confused about something, ask someone else. If you're not sure on a point, ask me, ask somebody else, but don't make a mistake while applying. Take your time and apply. Read all of the details carefully. Ask somebody to double check what you're filling in so you're not making that mistake. After this, you'll be asked to fill out the application form and go ahead and fill it out. It's not going to be too complicated. You'll have to fill in your personal information, upload your documents that we just spoke about, and then you'll have to sign the declaration and make the payment. Finally, you will be told what further actions are required from you. After you've completed the online process, you must book and attend an appointment to provide your biometric information, which is your fingerprints and your photos. And you must do this at a visa application center within 90 days. Now, in terms of the cost, the application fee will cost you £259 that we've already spoken about. And you will have to pay a health surcharge, which will cost you £940. The health surcharge will give you access to the NHS, or the National Health Scheme in the UK, which basically means that you don't have to pay for doctor's appointments in the UK when you visit here. And for a lot of treatments, you will, however, have to pay for your medicines. But your health surcharge should cover your NHS costs for 2 years. And like we discussed earlier, you will also need to prove that you have an additional £2,530 in your personal savings. Now, if you weren't successful, don't be too stressed, because like you know and like I've mentioned earlier, there will be another ballot opening in July. We will get more details of what the date is closer to July, but I suspect the process will be really similar to what we've already gone through this time. So hang on and don't be too stressed about it. If you haven't received your email yet, don't be too worried. A lot of people are still getting their emails as we are recording this and as you're watching this as well, because they did say that you would receive an email within 2 weeks of applying. So don't be too stressed if you haven't gotten it already. It's not on a first come, first serve basis or anything like that. And here's the thing, if you have gotten an acceptance and you're unsure about whether you want to apply and you probably don't want to apply, it's okay. You don't have to apply for the Young Professional Scheme if you don't want to, if you don't have the funds, or if you have some other restrictions at your end. You also do not need to let the Home Office know or to send them an email or anything to tell them that you won't be applying. It's completely okay. Just do absolutely nothing about it. And that's it. Once again, I am so happy for everyone who's been successful. I'm so happy for the people who've written and told me that they've received their successful emails. My heart is so thrilled, pleased, all of that you will soon be moving to the UK, because you will love it. Now, if you do have any questions on how to apply or any specific questions about this entire process, drop me a comment below and I will try and get back to you. And until next week, have a great week.